This convoy is heading to Berlin. Hundreds of tractors are on the road for a week across Germany, passing the 4 temporary storage facilities for nuclear waste. Immediate phase-out and nuclear power no thanks are Green Party campaign slogans from the 1970s, reintroduced by activists to needle politicians in the capital. Almost all those taking part live close to a nuclear power plant or a storage facility. For example, farmer Wilhelm Timme, who lives near a nuclear waste site outside Gorleben. It's a rambunctious group, but their concerns are very serious.
We want
to make it clear to all parties that we want a definite solution, which looks like this. First, we need to get out-of-date old power plants offline, and the lifespans of the newer plants need to be shortened as much as possible.
Da müssen die Laufzeiten so verkürzt werden, wie es geht. Ja.
Timme and his fellow activists don't know how many people will join their group and head to Berlin, and they're a bit nervous about that. The anti-nuclear movement has simmered down since 2001, when the SPD Greens coalition government reached agreement with the nuclear industry to gradually phase out nuclear energy in Germany. The aim is to have all German nuclear plants offline by 2020, the older ones even earlier. But almost simultaneously, moves to establish a permanent repository for nuclear waste in Germany have been put on ice. Major protests accompany every nuclear waste transport brought to the controversial interim facility in Gorleben in Lower Saxony.
You deceived us!
The protesters who finally travel past the Chancellor's office with farmer Timme are not quite as angry. Some senior Green Party members join in. They predict a backlash against the Conservatives, who want to relax elements of the nuclear phase-out if they win the upcoming elections.
People are still counting on the nuclear phase-out pushed through by the Greens. If that changes, then I imagine things might look a little different around here.
Ultimately, it was these images that revived fears across the country. Dripping brine on radioactive waste in the Asse salt mine, and a Social Democrat environment minister who pushed the issue up in the election agenda.
Support for the nuclear phase-out has increased significantly, as has the realization we cannot produce even more waste. It's an issue again in Germany.
Something that the SPD is using to win votes. Energy without nuclear power is their slogan. It's a subject that could polarize voters, but
the issue only mobilizes specific groups, either in the regions where people are directly affected or among generations with direct experience of the accident in Chernobyl. Otherwise, it's very difficult to get groups interested.
The Christian Democrats are also well aware of this. Nuclear policy is not a pressing subject for Chancellor Merkel, and it's a double-edged sword. Addressing German nuclear industry representatives, she underlined her view that nuclear power is an interim solution.
If one day we have quite different possibilities of generating energy, then we won't have to retain nuclear energy for ideological reasons.
But one thing wins Merkel applause here.
I want the lifespan of nuclear power plants to be extended, in adherence with the highest technical standards, of course.
The FDP shares a similar view.
The position is clear. There won't be any new plants, and as far as the lifespan extensions are concerned, we know from opinion polls that the population is pretty much divided on the issue. Sometimes support is greater for the extension, sometimes there are more people against it. It's always been that way in Germany.
Das ist gesellschaftlich in Deutschland schon immer so gewesen.
For the FDP, the nuclear question is limited as a campaign issue. Opponents of nuclear power vote green, say the experts. For uncertain voters, it's not a decisive issue.
No, not that issue. Not just that issue. Other issues are also important.
Basically, with the CDU-FDP, the power plants will stay in operation, and with the SPD Greens, they won't. But it's not really a burning issue for me right now.
But it is for the 30,000 anti-nuclear protesters who gathered in Berlin's government district. Farmer Timme is certain many more will join the cause if a conservative coalition renegotiates the nuclear agreement.
If Frau Merkel carries through on her pledges, there just won't be 30,000 people here, there'll be 300,000.
Will you be there too?
Absolutely, with my children too, and that'll be just fine.
But a serious mishap at a nuclear power plant could change everything. Nuclear energy, a thorny and unpredictable campaign issue that still has emotions running high.